Hi everyone, it's Mrs. Inman, and I'm reading Full of Beans, Chapter 18, Smoke. Mom was back to taking in laundry, which meant I was back to delivering. As I pulled the wagon with clean clothes down the little lanes, I found myself studying houses with new eyes. Which ones hid the lepers? But something more surprising than a leper was waiting for me when I reached Nana Philly's house. Avery. He had an easel set up and he's painting a picture of her house. Well, look who it is, he said to me. He was dabbing some yellow paint onto his brush. I wanted to tell him he should be using red because this is where the devil lived. Don't you know who lives here? I'm afraid not. This is Nana Philly's house. Oh, I see. I gave him a look. She hasn't come out and hollered at you yet? He looked up from his painting. Why would she do that? Because she doesn't like people. Maybe she has a soft spot for some artists. Mr. Avery, Nana Philly ain't got no soft spot for anybody. Believe me, I would know. He raised an eyebrow. I'm her grandson, I explained. Well, there was no putting it off. I took her pile of clean laundry and walked up the porch steps. Nana Philly, I called out. Got your laundry? But nobody answered. Was she out? I walked across the porch and peered in the windows. My grandmother was sprawled on the floor, her legs crumpled beneath her. Nana Philly, I cried and dropped the laundry running into the house. Her eyes were wide and there was a terrible bruise on the left side of her face where she'd fallen. Avery, help, I shouted. Nana Philly's mouth opened, but nothing came out. Turned out that Nana Philly had had some kind of a fit. Dr. Clark called it a stroke. In the blink of an eye, everything changed. An ant could run over her, and she couldn't stop it. All the cousins had been taking turns watching her, and it was Ma's turn tonight. She had taken Buddy with her and left me in charge of Kermit here. The house was quiet except for the buzzing of mosquitoes. They were thicker than ever. I had bites all up and down my arms. Did Nana Philly say anything today? Kermit asked. I'd gone to visit her at noon, but she hadn't seemed to know I was even there. Nope, not a word, I said. Gosh, do you think God punished her for being so mean? I think she's just old, I told my brother. But the truth was that I wondered that myself. The fire bell started ringing. Fire bell, Beans, Kermit said. It rang and rang and rang. Do you think it's a prank again, Kermit asked. Stay here, I told him. I want to see what's going on for myself. I went downstairs and stepped into the porch. The night air smelled like gardenia, but beneath the heady perfume, there was another faint scent, something that tickled my nose. Smoke. I followed the smell down the dark streets, and when I saw where the smoke was coming from, I felt like puking. Rubbed my eyes because I didn't want to know the truth. Smoke was pouring out of the Saldano's place. Mrs. Saldana was out front shouting, and I ran up to her. Where's the firemen? I asked. She looked bewildered. They haven't come. I don't know why. But I did. Probably because they thought it was some rotten kid playing a prank on them again. I took off running in my pajamas to the dark alleys, faster than I'd ever run in my life. When I reached the firehouse, I banged on the door, and Sim opened it. Shouldn't you be in bed, Beans? He asked me, taking in my pajamas. Behind him was another fireman, and some more sitting at a table playing dominoes. There's a fire, I gasped, on Ash Street. They didn't get up. One of the other men waved his hand. It's just a prank. I grabbed Sim's arm. You gotta believe me. I was just there. It's burning. The Soldanos. Something in Sim's face shifted. His eyes looked at mine. Game's over. Get on the wagon. I rode with the fireman as the engine barreled down the street. The ride should have been exciting, but all of a sudden, I felt sick. It was chaos when we reached Ash Street. Residents were screaming and crying and carrying everything they owned to the safest place in the cemetery, which had no houses and almost no trees to catch fire. At Pork Chop's house, the Saldano's belongings had been tossed into a pile on the street. It looked like it was everything that they could rescue. Shoes and pictures and pillows and sofas and chairs, the kitchen table and a dresser. Pork Chop was picking things up. Pork chop, I called. Beans, he shouted. He tossed a quilt into my arms. Take this to the cemetery. Give me more, I told him. He gave me a pillow, his mother's knitting basket, and his father's suspenders. Arms full, we ran to the cemetery. We dumped everything out, and then we headed for more. Then came curtains, a rag rug, Miss Saldano's white slips, sheets, and a small worn stuffed bear, which I knew was my best pals. In no time at all, the cemetery had been transformed. It was littered with belongings, brass beds, chairs, kitchen tables, pots and pans, cribs, and piles of clothes. Even a piano had been wheeled over. The cemetery looked like it had been living, and it was taking up some residence. That night, as firemen brought the flames, lots of people slept there. I was the only one who wished I was dead. Oh, see, he's starting to feel a little guilty now, isn't he? At first he wasn't because he's getting paid good money, but now Beans is seeing what his trickery has done. So that was chapter 18. Now we're going to be on 19, which is Hip Hip Hooray. See you later, everybody.